welcome to the Meebo podcast. Whether you are hitting record for the very first time or you've done it a million times, we're still going to give you some great tactical tips, tricks, and pieces of advice. We've got a great guest who's super knowledgeable and experienced in the category of filmmaking, Tony, with us today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So talk to me about what got you into filmmaking. I was doing some digging on your website. You know, immigrated parents came in, and you know you're kind of part of that. You started in LA, so I just got to ask, how'd Milwaukee end up in the picture?
This is the question I get all the time because it's so drastic, man. Like coming from, like my parents immigrated from Mexico, and obviously you know LA is the closest thing to Mexico. So was born and raised there, moved here when I was about 15. So it's kind of funny, man, because like it's like I'm half and half. It's like born and raised culturally in Los Angeles, but then became an adult here in the Midwest. The story I get from like my parents was basically just to get away from all the craziness. You know, LA has always been a crazy place, and I think that's what makes it so beautiful. But raising kids, I get it. Like I have 3 kids, and I think the way I grew up and was raised, I don't think I would want that for my kids, you know? So I think, you know, safety was what she was looking for. And she just came to visit Chicago for a trip and was like, you know what? Gas is not $7, you know? Houses are cheap. Like, and this is in, 2004? Okay. So a lot's changed since then, but it's kind of the reason why we came over here was just to kind of start over fresh and you know I'm still here. You know, it's different. The beauty is that I can go back and visit. You know, but I'm raising kids and I have a family, and I think you know staying here they're the reason why I'm still here. Okay. Yeah.
Do you still have enough roots to make a good trip out of LA if you need to go
always
back?
My best friend lives there. My core friends I was born and raised with, they're there. My cousins, my mom moved back. Funny. She's like, you're good now. Like, I'm going to go back.
You're 18. I'm kicking myself back out to LA.
Exactly. Yeah. So she's back. Not LA specifically, but she moved to San Bernardino, which is like right over the mountain. Yep. And so, so she's out there retired with my stepdad and just living life. And they make it a pretty easy excuse to go visit every year. So I'm there at least maybe 3 times a year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you notice any of that culture, whether it's either because you have parents that did immigrate or just your time in LA, any influence into your work today?
Oh yeah, man. Like, I wouldn't say professionally right now because the way I started was with skateboarding. Like you know, I used to skate, and back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember, but like Jackass was super big.
Yeah, we were both still in that time.
Yeah, like CKY was like my jam. You know, these like DVDs you had to like buy at like these weird shops, you know? And that was actually my inspiration. You know, Bam Margera was like my idol, dude. Oh, yeah. And so he inspired me a lot because not only was he doing skateboarding videos, but he was also like incorporating like these skits and, you know, music videos style with skateboarding. It was a weird collective, and that really inspired me. So actually, he's the reason why I picked up a camera. Okay. And I was, you know, skate culture is obviously super huge in LA, and I was a skater. We had a group of skaters, you know, and so I grabbed my parents' little VHS camera and would make sponsor me tapes. You know? Okay. And so that's kind of what got me into it. But when I moved here, obviously that culture shift was really drastic. It kind of got eliminated, and so filmmaking just making videos in general just kind of went out the window. But what really kind of brought it back to life was the Canon Mark II.
Yes.
You know, was like, oh my God, we can actually make some real stuff, like not this like VHS tape stuff anymore. We can really make some like really cool cinematic stuff. So bought one, but I had to make money, you know? So I just dove into what everybody does with the cameras. Let's shoot some weddings.
Oh yeah,
that's like the easiest thing you could do. Like
100%.
Like I can make some money. I could use this camera.
It's a market that never is going away.
Going away. You can always eat with weddings, and there's so many levels to it, you know. So I would say like that's kind of like, I wish I could incorporate my culture in some way, but we're just in two different worlds, you know? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the work, if I do any creative, like my spec ad, like some of that stuff is like a little bit of like my route. I got to do some cool stuff for Rihanna. So I was out in LA doing some cool stuff for that. So I kind of incorporated my little flavors in there, but it's hard, man. It's hard to I don't know, encapsulate like what I like into professional work because of just, you know, people want to make content that revolves around what they're doing and not necessarily me. So a lot of what I would do it's passion projects, really, like spec ads, you know, and that's where I put my little flavor of just me, my personality, you know, some skateboarding stuff, some old VHS stuff, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your approach? So then I guess before I get there, let me ask this on the flip side. What cultural pieces from the Midwest have you maybe seen yourself kind of start to incorporate into your work? Maybe even on like, you know, you go back out to LA, work on some like 3-ounce piece. Was there anything that you're like, oh yeah, I kind of see some ope happening in this piece?
Some ope, some ope. I would say like in the wedding world, man. I was in the wedding world for a little bit. I was in there for about 6 years, and I think in my filmmaking style, I kind of still wanted to do me. And what I've noticed was like a lot of just, it's very family oriented, I would say. And I was a little jealous, you know, because like I would see some families of just like, they're just so tight knit, you know. It actually it actually inspired me because like being here, I have no family, just my mom. It was just me and my mom. So like I would say like taking some of the things that like I was missing being here and seeing it in other people and being able to leverage that like storytelling aspect and just be like really make that a focus and you know. But culturally, I don't know. I don't think they're like the two are connected, to be quite honest. Fair. Yeah.
So then take us through your journey of sponsor tapes. Any leads on that, by the way? Did you get any sponsors from that?
Unfortunately, no, we're not that good.
It's okay. I was on the side of, I tried skateboarding, I couldn't ollie, and then I just gave up. And I'm like, well, I gave it a shot.
I was a guy that broke his arm multiple times to the point where I was like, yeah, this isn't fun to be in the ER all the time. So the camera really got me out of a lot of like dangerous stuff that we were doing. We were reckless, man. Like we would do like loading docks. There is always some, LA has tons of skate spots, you know, multiple stairs. Like my friends were just wild. I'm not that wild, you know, I'm a little more conservative, but yeah. So it was a good time.
Yeah. So how did that then kind of become a career?
I would say just, really, it's just like telling stories, man. It's really just telling stories and like just cold. Like I think video and culture go together real nice, and I feel like at that time, like skate culture was our world, you know, and it has a vibe to it. It's kind of hard to put into perspective, you know. And I love it. I really do. And the guys that are doing it now are just they're still keeping it raw, keeping it real. I would love to continue that, but again, like just being here, it's a little bit disconnected. Yeah.
So then what keeps you in Milwaukee? I mean, obviously family and stuff, but like creatively, what is there anything to that you're like, oh, you know, are you trying to find opportunity for yourself to maybe still be rooted here, but kind of find opportunity to do some freelance work outside of the area?
That's the beauty of the internet, I think, in the pandemic was now that like, so like, sorry, I moved this mic. With the internet and the way we communicate now, it's much easier. So like, I don't feel like I need to go back. There was a time and place where I was like, dude, I gotta be in LA. Like I can't be here. Like the work isn't here. It's unfortunately like love Wisconsin, but it's not here. And it's seldom in Chicago. Like Chicago is very like NBC, you know, it's still lacking like that just like raw LA culture. Like, let's just go out and shoot and it's just gonna be fun. So I always had it like, I gotta go back. But like the pandemic really showed me that like I could still make connections online and I could just fly there, you know? And the cost of living is a huge factor as to why I stay. Like I own a house. I have 3 kids. Like I'm living the Joneses right now, you know, like I got pretty much a lot of stuff that my friends just till this day at 35 have yet to achieve, only for the reason that it's not feasible in LA, man. It's like, you know, 1-bedroom house is like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
You know, apartments are $2,500 for a studio. Like it's insane. It's insane. The work granted is there, but like what keeps me here is just easier living, peace of mind of safety for my family, you know, and not having to worry too much. But then also just being able to just like, I could just travel, I could just go over there, you know, and that's what's funny with the Rihanna job. I have never thought I would land that, but like having connection still like to people in LA, like that's how I was able to really kind of land it, you know? And yeah, it's kind of the beauty of the internet, you know?
What do you think Milwaukee and even Chicago to an extent need to kind of bring themselves up into that level? Is it just more people just getting there and doing the thing, or is it something else, do you think?
Dude, I feel like sometimes, and maybe just because I'm older, like the young generation's doing it really well. Like they're getting connected, they're doing things, they're meeting people. I feel like as we get older, we're just kind of like more isolated, I guess, you know, and our time's more limited and valuable.
Yeah.
That we're not like just hanging out and just thinking of random ideas to just go shoot. I think now that we're older and more professional, like every like thing that we do has to have intention. We have bills to pay, so it has to have some kind of financial backing, unless it's a passion project, and that's. But like, I don't know. Like it's for me. For one, Wisconsin's got to have some kind of tax benefit to bring studios here. There has to be some kind of incentive because without that, like, why would they come here? You know, Atlanta's a hot spot right now because of those incentives. You know, they're building out studios.
Yeah,
like. Atlanta's the new Hollywood.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Tyler Perry's whole production's out of there,
dude,
right?
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's huge. But it's Atlanta. Like, it's the middle of the South. Like, it's not Hollywood. But, like, that to me is just like, we could do that here. There's not enough interest for some reason within, like, our legal system, our government, our tax system. But Atlanta just was like, yeah, like, let's bring it here. Like, let's give tax breaks. Let's give opportunity. And dude, a lot of my friends moved from here to there.
Yeah.
And they're killing it, man. They're having a lot of fun. Yeah.
So what's been your favorite project that you worked on so far? If you want to talk about kind of how you got into the world of Rockwell and kind of your start there and some of the projects you've been able to work on.
That's a tough one, man. Like, it's funny, dude. Cause like the biggest one was that Rihanna job, but like, I will be super honest. It was the most grueling one.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
Dude, it was grueling because, you know, when it comes to agencies, like there's always a disconnect in communication, like from like the visionary to the director to like client. Right. And, what happened was like, we got to the finish line. We showed up like to the spot where this event was happening. And, the team was just like, yeah, we're not feeling this. But like shows in like 24 hours, you're not feeling this. Like we spent weeks shooting content. Like we did all the product releases. We hired models. Like we did the whole night, and we were doing 16-hour days, you know, just pumping this stuff out. And another 20 hours of editing on location.
Oh, geez.
So like it was grueling. And then the agency was overseeing all of it, you know, and they're like checking all this stuff off. But then come to the client, it's like, we want to change it. So it was a grueling experience. It was a learning experience. But dude, I think it was the most satisfying thing because it's like a big name. We got to see it like in fruition. Like the concept was, they wanted all this product stuff on 4 walls. So they're projecting all this stuff, and they had like a lipstick thing in the center column. And we put content around that. So like to see it like live and like real life, it was really, really cool. And all the time and effort spent on it. But it really opened my eyes to like, do I really want to do that? You know? And so I don't know, man. Filmmaking is just, it's a weird industry. Because either you work like a hound and your whole personal life is gone, you know?
Yep.
Or you just do what you love, but may not get any kind of like validation from it, you know? You just got to pick your battles, you know? And for me, like that was satisfying, but it showed me that's not what I want to do. Like that's not the kind of life I want for me, you know? Like I'm just not into that type of hustle, you know, where it's just you're a robot in this cog and you know, you're working your ass off and then for what? Like, you know, like your wife's mad at you, your kids miss you, you know, it's like, yeah, the pay was great, but like at what expense, you know? And so, like I said, fun, checked off my list of like things that I wanted to do. It really also showed me like the avenue I want to be in. Like, I think I'm converting more into being an editor than I am like on-site set location type of shooter, DP, director. Like I think I've always dreamt of just being a director, you know? I'm not like a tech kind of person. I never like, I'm not into the latest cameras. I'm not into like the latest lens. I'm just like into what looks good and what gives me that feeling. Whether it's an older camera or whatever, like that stuff doesn't interest me. So like directing was like always kind of in my lane more than like a cam op. But again, like just multiple jobs of just 16-hour days, early starts, you know, late finishes. And I think now I'm just like more like I actually do enjoy more of the editing process. Okay. I enjoy because if you really think about it, like the video or the movie's made in the edit or the magic's happen in the edit. Yeah. You know, it's not really on location, you know? And I think I've found more of a love and passion in that world than just stressing out. Like,
I mean, it definitely gives you a leg up because you know you've spent so much time as a director, as a DP that like you know what you're looking for when you get that footage and you're like, all right, here's how there might be some like, oh, if only they would have. But at the end of the day, you're like, okay, I can see what was being done. I can see why I can craft this into this.
Yeah, it's I love telling stories. I think that's why I got into it. You know, even with the skating stuff, like I love showing like just our world. Yeah. You know, and crafting that in the edit. Like, dude, when I used to make those videos on VHS, like I didn't have a computer. Like I was broke, man.
Was that the 2 VHS system where record, rewind?
I didn't even have a second VHS to even do that. So my thing was I had a VHS player, which I connected the camera into. But then what I did was I recorded the output from the VHS into like the tape deck. Yep. And then when I would cut, I'd actually play it on the TV and record it with the camera. Onto the tape.
That's cool.
So I would like stop. And like the music, the way I put music was I'd have music in the background, like on a radio and like the camera would pick up that. So like I think like if I look overall from like start to like now, I think I've always enjoyed just editing, you know? And that was like a sign for me that just like I just love that process more than I guess being like out and about, you know?
Yeah. So I was looking through your work, and one thing that really stood out to me was the FENTY piece. I just loved the combination of, and I'm going to kind of ask the same question different ways for a lot of the things that you've worked on, because I think that the message of your work and creativity holds true for a lot of what you do. Yeah. But there was a beautiful relationship between the product shots and the acted shots. Yeah. How did that all come together? Was that something that you had? I know a lot of the work you probably are the one kind of pitching the creative, but how did that kind of come together?
It came together kind of. It was a mess. I'm gonna be real honest. Like, there was really just a concept, and the person in charge just didn't know how to execute. So he ended up working with an agency that's actually out of Chicago. Okay. and friends of mine that work there, and that's who they got me kind of plugged in, you know. And so where I came in was just like, they were saying like, this is what we want. Like, can you just make it happen? You know? And so I didn't really have like a treatment.
Okay.
I didn't have a concept piece. It was just like, we have these shots, we have some inspo from the product release that they put out. The perfume wasn't put out yet, but they had put out some of the release for like the lipstick and stuff like that. It was like a poolside stuff. So like the whole concept was like by the pool, kind of that like summer fun. Yeah. And so the perfume release was kind of, I would say like more, sorry, my phone's going off.
No, you're good.
Kind of wishy-washy, you know, there was no vision. So we pulled inspiration from just the brand itself. Okay. And they gave us a product and you know, kind of put stuff together that we liked, you know. We had this big LED wall. We could put anything on it. It was 2D, so we didn't do any kind of like 3D renders or anything like that, but we still kept it kind of very summer vibes, you know, all that jazz, and just kind of went with it, you know, just did our own thing and had a ton of fun with it. But didn't end up getting, none of it got used.
Dang, because it looked great. I mean, I thought the duality, and I mean, I know that, you know, what you showed on your personal channels might not have been exactly what was representative of the final product, but there you have a good eye of like the duality of the product, what they're buying, and the why of what they're buying it for.
Right.
So where does that come from in your mind? Is that something that kind of just comes naturally to you, or is there something that you kind of look for as inspiration for that?
It's a little bit of both, you know, because I'm not in the makeup world, obviously.
Right. But that's why it's so, I was like, okay, but you still get it. You still bring it all together.
I think part of it is like, especially with that brand, with, you know, the roots were very SoCal. So I think it kind of brought a little of that element of like that summer vibe. Like, you know, summer's 24/7 over there. So like I kind of had that like already instilled in me. But to be quite honest, a lot of it was just like, was inspo from like the product brand itself and like how they market their stuff and like their vibe and like how they like to put out. And a little bit of like me and just incorporating some of like where I come from and how I can see this product kind of launching. Again, there's no treatment, there's no way of shooting it. So it was all off the cuff. And I think it worked out great. You know, it was fun.
So I think you came on my radar initially through the Makers Wanted piece with Rockwell. And what immediately struck me about that piece that I thought was so beautiful is at the end of the day, it's a hiring video. Yeah. How did that, I mean, you think of hiring videos, you're going to, all right, let's sit down 3 people, an interview, it's testimonial, it's, oh, you should totally come work here. Yeah. You flip that shit on its head. How did that come about?
Dude, man. So kudos to Anthony Jones. If you're watching this, like me and him, like are on the same level of like what we want to see when it comes to content and what's edgy and what's cool and what stands out. And previous to us recording, you know, we kind of said like, you know, Rockwell, it doesn't specifically, it's not a sexy, like engineering is not super sexy, you know? But the stuff that they do is super cool, you know? And when it comes to a group of engineers and tech people, like they're so in their world that like stylistically they're just not, they don't care, you know, they're not interested. But in order for us to be able to sell something that is not that sexy, we had to make it super sexy. And you know, a lot of like watching what other like companies were doing, not specifically in engineering, like there's no engineering company that created a piece like what we did. You know,
agreed,
but we were inspired by what other companies were doing. Like we saw like a McDonald's piece. Oh, H&M. Okay. Shout out to Caitlin. She found this spec ad, or no, this commercial, and it had a lot of the treatment stuff that we had, like the film burns and like this crazy like setups, like multiple sets per like. In our case, we use it for positions. Okay. But on the H&M video, it was like a wardrobe. So like it was like a dress or jeans, and they were all different sets for every product that they were releasing. So I took that concept and made the employees the product.
Yep.
You know, and worked with a really cool set designer who was able to take like my crazy ideas and kind of make them real according to the job spec that we were featuring. So like one of my favorite shots is the money shot.
That, I mean, yes.
Like Asiana, like she was a lady in the in the video, and she is just like boss bitch, like,
yes,
you know, finance type of person. And so we're like, okay, this woman like is like top tier, like, you know, she gets down, like she has a look, she could play the part, but I want hers to be like super unique. And how can we do that? You know, and my set designer was like, why don't we just like hang money up, like, you know, and like she kudos to Tessa for doing that. Like she really kind of came up with that concept, but like the way we shot it, Asiana, it was like just like chemistry, well made, and we got these just beautiful shots, man. And
there's so much being said, and I mean that shot specifically, without being inconsiderate or like egotistical about it. Like that shot just really encompassed everything about that piece. And then, you know, you have the story from beginning to end, where the first shot is she's painting the canvas, and then at the end you see the culmination of it. And again, it's a hiring video, but the way that it came together with the tagline, chef's kiss.
Makers wanted, man. It was a fun project. And yeah, like again, like the people were our products, and the cool thing too, no actors. Those are all employees.
Well, I assume so, because it was
100%.
specific names and roles on that piece.
Yeah. So try directing employees who do not like to be on camera.
Yes.
Everyone killed it on that project. I think that right there is a huge testament to like pre-production. Pre-production is key. There's so many people that I see that don't do any pre and just think they could just wing it. No, man, we spent at least 3 months, like from like inspiration to concept to location to choosing our employees to then working with a set designer based on the ideas. And then the magic it was like, you know, it was just like everything just came together so well. And a lot of it had to do with just really, really good planning. FENTY, horrible planning, terrible planning. As you can see that like day of the show, like we scrapped 80% of the stuff that we did, you know? And so like, guys, like if you're listening, pre-production, always like definitely write out your stuff, envision it, then go out and do it, you know?
What is your pre-production process? Talk us
inspiration.
Okay.
Finding inspiration. Because at the end of the day, like you can have mad ideas, but we're essentially marketers too, you know? Find out the industry that you're in, and how can you see what's out there and see how you can be different. Not the same, but like completely different. This Makers Wanted, we were 100% completely different from any other engineering company. And that was the goal. And
company, period. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah, seriously. And I feel like finding like brands that like you connect with and seeing how you can tie that into the work that you're doing and how that still fits into the brand, because you still got to remain brand centric. Like you have to, it still has to represent Rockwell, you know, no matter what. So taking those two, just finding things that are really cool to you that you know you can do, you can pull off, that still like is your style, and just making it your own. But first off, just finding inspiration, and then finding people that A, you want to work with, that A, can do the things that you are trying to do that you can't do. A lot of stuff that was on that Makers Wanted was stuff that I was really kind of like not fully experienced in. So you hire people that know how to do it.
Yeah. 100%.
So, but which is super cool, because like that was like a true directing job. Like I was literally like just directing the vision, making sure I'm essentially the client because I work at Rockwell. Right. So I knew what we were going to attack, but it's really knowing what it is that you're going to do. Hire people that know that they can pull that stuff off, and yeah. But to finish off your question, it's inspiration, then finding people, and then just executing, you know, just really putting in the time, effort, and you'll get a solid product every time, I think.
What are your ways to find inspiration? Are you somebody that just kind of looks in the world around you, or is there like a specific spot that you go? Are you a Pinterest, or are you are there websites that you go to, like, all right, let me just watch a bunch of commercials?
There's brands that like you connect with, there's just like some people are Patagonias.
Yeah.
For me, like, I like Carhartt. There's a company called Born and Raised.
I feel like I've heard of them.
Yeah. I actually got a Born and Raised shirt under this suit, but it's, we're in the Midwest, so it's cold. But those to me, like everybody has like a pile of brands that you connect with personally, and they're putting out stuff that represents their brand, but like in a way that you're like kind of attracted to. And I find inspiration from that, and just kind of mixing those two worlds together.
I like that a lot. One thing that I always appreciate about the work that you've done, and I guess I need to start by asking, I don't know necessarily the behind the scenes of like the hierarchy of Rockwell. Are you in charge of the creative? Do you have to report to somebody about the creative? Who's really in charge of like the final say of, all right, check, let's do, so Makers Want is a lot of companies or even video production agencies, anything. You think about taking a concept like that and pitching to a client, you start to bite your nails a little bit because you're like, that's definitely not what they're used to seeing. Dude, so like, who's the final say? How does that go about?
Yeah, especially with a company like Rockwell. Rockwell does not put a lot of commercials out, and they don't actually do a lot of like specific ad targeting like that. So we were doing something pretty dangerous, quite honest. Like, and still like no one understood the concept until it was final. Yeah. So we were really rolling the dice. On top of it, it wasn't even our money. It was money from a different business unit. Okay. So the hierarchy was a little bit weird because like my team were in charge of talent marketing, but we at that time like we were getting we had needs for like software people, engineers, and so the way it works, it's kind of weird. Like they're kind of like our clients. Like they have a need. They say, hey, like we're hiring. Okay. Like we need content to attract these people. So they'll hit us up, and that's kind of how Makers Want It kind of happened. But we also had like to show off all the jobs that we kind of feature that we're hiring for, So again, like we wanted to make something really cool. We had the funds, but really, dude, there was no hierarchy. There was like no one like approving it. It was just me.
So
Anthony. They
did give you the creative freedom to kind of let loose, and here's the budget.
We gave ourselves the creative freedom.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one was overseeing it. Like no, just us. Like we.
And that's why I asked, because it's like you said, like you're kind of both the client and they're kind of the client, but you're the employee and they're kind of the, so it's like
weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I just want to make sure I wasn't getting things too twisted, because then the other piece of that I think specifically speaks to kind of what I like about the work that you do is there was, I forget exactly what this was for, so forgive me, but you had like a backdrop and like a bunch of plants in like a lobby, and there was like people that would like kind of come in, and there was like some out of that, but that was just a shot that I remember, and it was just so cool because you took something that's like so, I guess the overall point of what I'm trying to make is the way that you work. I think you do such a good job of taking something that's so buttoned up by, stereotypical means. Yeah. And you pull that out of there and you're like, listen, we're just people. Yeah. Like I'm going to show, like even the Makers Want piece, like you're working for the people. These are the jobs. These are the people. Like, how do you kind of begin to take some of the sterileness out of stuff that for a global company like Rockwell, you have to make it so that it reaches and talks to a lot of people. It does. Yeah. We're a global company too. And sometimes people do forget that. And if you go outside of Milwaukee, like the cultures are very different, And so being able to kind of create something that's not dry, but that can be watchable for all cultures. Like for that example was that H&M ad, that can be played anywhere and it will be recepted, well, because it's just a beautiful piece, and so that was enough for me to be like, okay, if we can make something beautiful, it would just not fit in this one zone. Like this can be viewed and enjoyed globally, and if we kind of stick to like the way the culture is at Rockwell, which is very engineered, it's very buttoned up, it's very clean, it's very, then we're really isolating ourselves, from the rest of the world. Cause like not everybody, dude, this is my work attire. Yeah. Right. Like
yeah, granted, there are people that do enjoy a suit and tie. That's fine. But we're now in a time where like people just want to be themselves, you know? And so we have to make content that not just resonates to one core group. It has to resonate with everybody, you know, especially if we're going to be a global company. We just can't represent one zone because dude, we go to Barcelona, dude, beautiful. Yeah. Like every fashion, like the way they dress, like it's just like it's them, you know? And we can't just come across like just, you know, dry.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. A big part of, I think, recently what you're kind of diving into and starting to dive into is the spec work.
Yeah.
And the recent piece spec work they did for Nike could have been a Nike ad for what, you know, anybody's concerned.
Yeah.
How important is spec work to you and your creativity?
Now it's being a lot more important because, you know, I've been at Rockwell for a long time. They keep me super busy. And I kind of just ended up in this zone of like, it's kind of like in the wedding world, you know, when you do one wedding, someone sees it and they want the same thing. And it just kind of just, that's what happens. That you just end up just doing that all the time. Like, you're like, actually, I only did it because I needed money and I like filming stuff, but it's not really my passion. It's not what I really want to do. So hence why I had to get out of the wedding world. And I wanted to be more in a marketing environment. So 6 years now, I'm like in a reset. Like I still love what I do and I still want to work with companies. I still think like what I do is fun and enjoyable and it's good living. It's good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
But there's always that itch I want to scratch of like, how far can I push this and not have any oversight, not have anyone tell me, change that. Like this is all raw, like out of my brain onto this screen, and this is what I want to see. And there's so much freedom in that I feel like spec work allows you to like really spread your wings and just go nuts because you're not held to any standard, any way of doing it. Like, you know, budget might constrain you, but that might even inspire you even more. Like, how can I do this with no money?
Right.
You know? And sometimes that actually makes a better product, you know? It's not always about like the latest tech or wall. We just so happen that like with that wall, like with the guys at Backyard Dreams, it's a fairly new wall. They wanted to create, you know, buzz.
Yep.
So that was they had a bunch of people come out that played basketball and they hit me up. Hey man, like we're doing this. You want to come shoot? Like no story. Like I'm like yeah, I'll do it. And so we had some cool visuals and as I went in, like I already knew what I wanted.
Okay.
The way like I wanted it to look, the background shots that I wanted. Like I saw a couple of Instagram photos of this guy doing like a kind of like a Michael Jordan dunk over a sun.
Okay.
It was super cool. And we had a sun render. And so, but I don't want to copy. So I'm like, what can we do to make this cool? You know? And so everything was like kind of directed on the fly. But it was just like a big mashup of just shots. And I wanted to turn into like something that's like kind of like a commercial style and just had so much fun doing it, man. You know?
I think it's important too because like the cool part about that is so there's somebody else that we know that recently put out a reel of theirs and the first shot was a Fresnel, perfect circle Fresnel, cool. Like carbon copy of basically your first shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was so cool to me because I'm like two very similar creative thoughts done only with the resources that they had available.
Yeah.
So how important is it to kind of work through those things of like, all right, here's maybe what I only have available. You know, how do you take the big idea and bring it down into something that you can actually present?
That's where creativity comes in.
Yeah.
Really. You just gotta get creative. I would say like in my case, I can only speak on my behalf, is like that wall, I'm just lucky. Like these guys just so happened.
Right.
I think if I would have done it differently, and I didn't have a wall, then I probably would have made it even more urban. I probably would have taken it to a park or done some maybe like a garage mock up, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It still would have happened anyway, I think. But yeah, I think it just with restraint, just gotta get creative, you know?
And with that, man, what truly goes into a good story? Because I mean, that's a Nike spec ad,
Yeah.
right? Again, Nike's very good at selling the people, not the product. So how do you create really a truly, and I mean, even with your time at Rockwell, a good story? Like, what goes into a good story in your mind?
For me, it's what resonates. You know, it's what we're into. Like I hate the word trendy, you know, but like what really at this current moment, like what's cool, what is it that people want to see, but how do you make it your own, you know? And story is so important because visuals are great, but like also like I stick to the bare bones of the story, like art,
Right.
you know, like if I'm doing an interview, like I would say for like an interview or like any type of like passion project that involves like a storyline, I stick to the basics, man. You know, it's really what it comes down to. But sometimes you can just get a little wild. Like it doesn't need to have a story all the time. You know, it could just be like a visual, beautiful art piece and let the audience interpret that however they want, you know? Like,
Yeah. I definitely think I see that in your work because like you do, it's for you, I think a lot of time, but you do leave it open to enough. You allow the viewer to also have a creativity to how they choose to see the piece.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I think is very powerful. Talking about editing, you know, what's your approach to video editing? You know, you want to spend more time in the editing room. So kind of what's your process? I think you do a really good job of bringing in like the film burns, you know, it's kind of it's a retro feel, but you know, you're making it work in a more professional setting or, you know, settings that you normally wouldn't see it in. So kind of what's your process there?
I gravitate that to because it goes back to my roots of like just, you know, VHS and granted these are 8mm. This is before my time. And at one point it was super like that like look is super hot. And sometimes it's actually, I hate to say it, but it's kind of tacky. You know,
it can be,
but again, done right.
Exactly.
Done right. Done with intention. Done with like if you were to actually be shooting with 8mm, how would it look? Like then it could look really nice. But I gravitate to like that like dirty, grungy, grainy look because that's my roots. Like from like VHS to shooting on whatever you can, like even on the Canon Mark II, like I think like you can only go up to like 400 ISO before you hit 800 and everything's grainy, you know?
But there's a look to it.
But there's a look to it. Like it's nice. Like, and I think that for me, like I've never been like a super clinical person unless I have to with commercial work. Obviously there's, you know, you have to be clinical sometimes, but when it comes to like your personal, like you like do what makes you. And for me, like, it's just that like grimy, like, dude, A24 does a beautiful, it's a great example of just like the tones that they use, the color that they, you know, there's a flavor to it, you know? And I love that flavor, dude. Like, it's just, it just resonates with me for some reason. Yeah.
I love it. And I think, you know, you're obviously, I think you work on red most of the time. Is that kind of your go-to?
I kind of work with a bunch of stuff. So I have a red, sometimes it's a little clinically too sharp. So I'll jump on like, right now, like my personal is like a 6K Pro.
Okay.
Cause that, I think the color science.
There is, I had somebody that knew that bought the 4K when it first came out. I'm like, I can't explain it, but there's like a weird, the blacks aren't black, but like they are black, and like there's a green tint. I'm like, I like it.
I like it. I like because it resembles like old film. Yeah, you know, it resembles like the films that we grew up. Like today's movies are so clinically clean. Like it's just like, you know. I love the guys that are doing like the Euphorias, you know, and I feel like the 6K or the 4K, even just the Black Magic line. I have an Ursa too. Like those cameras, for some reason, out of the box, just give you that, you know, like that, like creaminess, you know. Red is very clinically sharp. Like you're gonna shoot like a commercial or like a Marvel movie with like that camera. So I actually do not use that camera very often. You know, which is crazy because I've always wanted one.
But again, like the right tool for the right job.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know what you're looking for at the end of the day, and it's not, you don't have to be clinical for somebody or something, then like do what you think is the right tool for the job.
Right. Yeah. I agree. 100%, man. Yeah. And I don't think I'm ever going to, for now, like these cameras really kind of just make my work more my work, and I'm gonna stick with them, you know?
Well, and that gets into kind of one other point that I had of like just personal content. I recently just bought a 2010 Digicam CCD sensor.
Okay.
Cause I'm like, I personally don't want to like go full on into film.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what's close?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay. And then, you know, it's pocketable camera size, you know, phone size. And I'm like, okay. But now I'm discovering that I'm finding, unfortunately, like when I'm out in the world, I'm tunnel vision, not intentionally, but just like, I'm leaving the house to go to a destination to do a thing. And that's kind of where I leave it. Now I'm like, okay, but like, what are the moments? I mean, it's our job to be creative and to find moments in the world. And here I am doing everything but that by complete accident, just because that's how I operate as a human. And I'm like, okay, how can I bring some conflict into that situation? So I just picked up a Digicam and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's a new world. And I'm like, it sucks, but I love it. Like, that's why I love it. And it's like, so, you know, what are some things you're looking forward to in your own personal work that, you know, people can kind of take advice on?
For me, I think the new journey that I'm going to be on is I'm going to continue to do the work that I do professionally, like for companies and corporate. I think I'm just good at it. So I'm going to continue to do that for like, call it a day job, you know? But for me on the creative, like, I think I want to do commercials that have like a draw to it. So for example, like, God, I can't think of the example. Sorry. It's, I want to make content that has like a meaning behind it, you know, like for example, like I have a spec ad that it's in my brain, to do something for Lego. Okay. But I want it to feel like not the product is what we're selling, but like the lifestyle of just like being a kid and building Legos, you know, and in filming that, like, it's kind of like almost like a home movie type of like, you know,
yeah, absolutely.
And that's where I'm more leaning towards, I think, you know, it's just more of that advertisement that has like that, like, I don't know, that hook of just like, we're not selling the product, but we're selling like this kind of,
you're selling the experience. I mean,
yeah,
you know, I think that carries through all of your work. And I think I try to do that in my own work of like, okay, like, again, you can be super sterile with the fact that you have a Lego block and it boom, 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 and boom, you have a castle. But like the person behind the thing that's being used is so critical to the end result. Yeah. Because you can, and that's why I always love looking at like 80s ads, 90s ads, because like it's a different world. But like, you know, that was then, it was just, all right, here's the product, new features, sweet, buy it now, 8 easy payments, you know. But now it's like, all right, we're past those days. So now it's, let's tell you why it matters. Exactly.
Yeah. And I love that type of marketing where it's like, I feel like I'm not being sold. Nobody likes to be sold. That's just, we're in a generation that we're being sold all day long, you know? And I think what's more attractive to me is like the outcome of like buying a Lego set when you're a kid, building these things, and then working at Rockwell. A lot of these engineers, they started building these little like,
oh yeah, absolutely,
you know, robot Lego stuff. Like actually we work with First Robotics, and they have a Lego league, you know, and it's just kids just being kids, but like that turns into like them being some kind of engineer and doing something, you know, but like at the core, it's like you're still a kid, and the product helps you, allows you to be a kid, but it actually then leads you into something that you enjoy. Like for us, it's cameras, you know,
right? 100%.
But like, how does the camera like impact your life? And that's the story I want to tell.
I like that. So where can people find you, your work? Tell us about your handles, all that fun stuff.
So I'm on Instagram at Fausto Anthony. Fausto is my middle name. It's my father's name. Anthony is my first name, but I go by Tony. So you can find me at Fausto Anthony at Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I have a Vimeo at Tony Nuñez Vimeo. And then my website. You can find me at my website, which I try to keep up to date mostly, but at tonynunez.work, you can find some of my latest and greatest. A lot of my personal projects are on that website.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you having on.
Thanks.
Having on the show.
Thanks for having us.
And if you're out there, yeah, absolutely. If you're out there and you're watching or listening or however you're doing it, hit the button. That's good. We would really appreciate that. Leave some comments. Definitely go check out the Makers Wanted piece, any other work that Tony's been a part of. Great learning pieces to really inspire you to maybe do something great for yourself. But otherwise, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.